We'd like to try and start now. I hope you can all hear over the wind and the little background noise from Union Pacific. I'd like to cheer the West High Band for the noise they've been making that sounds so good. We welcome everyone here on an epic day today. My name is Oren Colby. I'm Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees of UTA. Would like to recognize some other members of our board who are here. I saw Nisha Christensen and Mike Romero. I can't tell if there are others, but Nisha and Mike, raise your hands. We have others here from Salt Lake City. I've seen quite a contingent, Mayor, from your city here. There are others here from the state office, and of course our contractor, Stacy Whitbeck-Kiot. We also have members of the Airport Tracks Community Advisory Committee. I believe Elaine Bentley from Rocky Mountain Power is here as their official representative. She's short enough you have to raise your hand twice as high. Appreciate every one of you for being here. Today we have with us Lieutenant Governor Bell, Mayor Becker, J.T. Martin, who's chair of the Salt Lake City Council, Lane Beatty from the Chamber, and Mike Allegra from UTA, all of whom will be sharing a few thoughts with us. Thought I'd share a couple of things about each of these individuals. Governor Bell is the 7th and current Lieutenant Governor, as you all know. He's been in leadership in the Senate, a mayor, chair of Envision Utah, and a bunch of other things that we won't mention today. His most important accomplishments, however, are acquiring his good wife, Jolynn, and their 6 children and 17 grandkids. Lieutenant Governor was born in Ogden, and he went to Weber State and graduated from the University of Utah Law School. I know him personally as just a very good guy. Mayor Becker has been our mayor here in Salt Lake City since from January of 2008. He previously served in the House of Representatives. He's an attorney, a professional planner. He got his bachelor's degree from the University of Pennsylvania and a master's degree from the University of Utah. Mayor Becker's an avid skier and a kayaker and who knows what else in the wilds of this state, where he enjoys all parts of the state with his 2 sons and his granddaughter. I also learned that he's a ranger and a firefighter in years gone by. Perhaps that accounts for some of what we see in him from day to day. J.T. Martin was raised here in Salt Lake City, graduated from Cottonwood High and the University of Utah. However, he also attended universities in Mexico and Austria. He owns local businesses. He did, in his 20s, took a year off, went backpacking around the world, visited 30 different countries. While doing that, he worked in Vienna, Austria for a while, where he met his yet-to-be wife, future wife, Kimberly. She was traveling as a member of the Salt Lake Olympic Vid delegation. JT was smart enough that he won his gold medal by returning home to date and marry Kimberly. They have 3 daughters and ages 3, 7, and 9. Lane Beatty, you all know well. I remember watching him one time as he was commencement speaker at one of our local universities, and they gave him a little award. As I recall, it was a bridle for your horse. But Lane, we appreciate you here and all the work that you do and the contributions to help move projects like this forward. Our final speaker today will be Michael Allegra, who has been recently appointed as general manager of UTA. Mike's been in the business for over 30 years. He received his degrees from Rutgers University and Virginia Polytech Institute and State University. He chairs and vice chairs several committees at the national level in the industry. I thought it's interesting. Nobody in this industry has been able to bring projects in both on time and under budget. That is no one but Mike Allegra. 70 miles of rail, all early and less expensive than projected. And now well on our way for another 70 miles, including the line to the airport and the raising of this structure and its replacement. Mike came to Utah on a visit after he completed college, and he never went back. Well, at least not to live. And he and his family enjoy all that this state has to offer as well. So we'd like to turn the time now over to those who will speak, starting with Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here. This is a wonderful occasion. As I've indicated to people that we're very successful in getting our tracks and front runner lines throughout the Wasatch Front, and tell them what we're doing in Utah County, et cetera, they always say, but when can we go to the airport? And you tell them about the project up north, but when can we take it to the airport? And that's what people want to know. First-class cities have mass transit to the airport, and that's what this does. That's why this is a red letter day. I commend all who've worked on this project. This is not one agency that's been able to pull this off. The funding, for instance, comes from a myriad of sources, and it takes a lot of cooperation. I'm very grateful for the mayor in Salt Lake City, for Ben before his capacity as senator, and for everyone at UTA, for the landowners, for the city, and the foresightful planning that's gone into this. I'm really, really excited about it. Think about Salt Lake 10 years ago without really our track system, without front runner, with our viaducts that touch down way east of where they are now. Just think about that. In the last 10 to 15 years, Salt Lake has been renewed and revitalized by projects like this. The 2 or 3 blocks east to west that we've opened up when Mayor Corradini was the mayor, the tracks coming in downtown. It's not been without bumps, but you look what's been done at the university and connecting our community, and now with Front Runner going all the way south, and now this airport line and the Mid-Jordan and other things. It's just a great, great time. Commendations to all who participated. Thank you very much.
Good morning, and I welcome all of you to this groundbreaking on a booming day here, booming spring day here in Salt Lake City. I look around here, and there are so many people who have been working so hard towards this day, and it is a culmination, as the Lieutenant Governor said, of a partnership of many public agencies, of many folks in the private sector, and it's the way we're able to get things done so way in Salt Lake and in the region. This project and the demolition and reconstruction of the North Temple Viaduct and the North Temple Boulevard really reflects the cornerstone and the centerpiece for Salt Lake as the crossroads of the West. Our streets are so much an essential part of quality of life. And everyone, whether they are biking, walking, in a wheelchair, in a vehicle, or on transit, will find this to be a model for a major street, a complete street in Salt Lake City and in the region. With this development, we are shortening the viaduct. So instead of the viaduct coming down between 3rd and 4th West, it'll be coming down between 4th and 5th West, which will open up much more area for development. It also will ease the future development of our transportation system, because we are in the process with our friends in Davis County to the north of planning a streetcar line from downtown Salt Lake into South Davis County, and that is the corridor identified for that is 4th West. By moving this viaduct further to the west, we're really enabling the development of our future transit system to the north as well. This is also going to be the location for a major intersection between commuter rail and the tracks line to the airport. There'll be a wonderful set of pedestrian access going up and down, vertical transportation system to allow people to stop here with commuter rail and to take the tracks line to the airport. And the property owners adjacent to the viaduct in a separate special assessment area are taxing themselves, or the city's taxing them, but with their approval, to help pay for the development of this viaduct. This really is an incredible partnership, as we've been talking about, but it is also a major commitment by so many folks, and I'll talk about some of them here in a minute. Having a complete street, as I mentioned, really is something that has been not only an ambition and goal, but it's now the policy of Salt Lake City. And as far as I know, this will be the first major street, arterial street, that will be a truly complete street. Going over this viaduct, we'll have light rail, we'll have on-lane vehicular traffic, we'll have two lanes, one lane in each direction for bikes. We'll have a pedestrian bikeway. We'll have improved lighting. It is really a complete street, and going all the way out to the airport, there will be improvements that will include a shared path off-street west of here for pedestrians and bikes who are non-road warrior bikers to be able to really easily move in our streets. So it really will be accommodating all modes of transportation and everyone's movements. This street is also, I think, of special importance to all of us in Salt Lake City, because this really will be a new connection between downtown and the whole west side of our community. There will be, over time, not only a complete renewal of this street, but redevelopment of the area around the street. We are going through the planning and zoning in Salt Lake City so that we'll have a transit-oriented development corridor along this street, and over time, as these properties redevelop, it really will be the centerpiece for the whole west side of Salt Lake City. So this really is a banner day for us in Salt Lake City. I want to give special thanks to Lieutenant Governor Bell and to members where he was when all of this started, members of the legislature. Had it not been for their financial support a year ago for this project, the North Temple Viaduct, we would not be here today. They stepped forward recognizing that we probably would only have one time in the next several decades to do this project, and made a $20 million commitment. The Wasatch Front Regional Council that's here and some of the federal stimulus dollars are helping us. Salt Lake City has stepped forward in a big way. And I commend and thank our council members. I see we've got several council members here, and the chair, J.T. Martin, will be speaking right after me. But this really has been just an enormous effort by so many people. That has included Salt Lake County, which has agreed with us to create a special development area called a CDA that will enable us to capture some of the revenues to help pay for this project. And I want to also comment and thank the Salt Lake City School District, because as part of a CDA, some of the recipients of tax dollars are foregoing some of their return on the development of the area around here, so that we can all benefit by having a major improvement in Salt Lake City. And finally, let me mention UTA. It's been described that UTA is nationally recognized as the leader in transit development around the country. We have more rail construction going on along the Wasatch Front than any other place in the country. And it is a real credit to UTA for the efficiency of their operations, for the vision they've exercised, for the commitment they've made to making Salt Lake City a leader nationally in terms of how we do transit projects well and how we serve the community. So this is a great time for all of us. I thank you all. We're going to have some fun here in a minute, starting to take down the bridge. But let me next turn some time over to J.T. Martin, our City Council Chair. Thank you.
What a great day to tear down a bridge. It's a great day to fix what we did in the 70s. The designers of those years, it seemed, focused more on function than on focused more on function, on the function of moving cars, but it seemed much less on form. Form was much less of a consideration. We're here today. Where we stand today has been an important place in history for the development of our city. From the time the railroads entered this valley, making Salt Lake City the crossroads of the West, this location has been required to serve many needs. In the early years of our city, up to 20 tracks were laid right beneath us. Even though these tracks were important for commerce and the building of our city, the at-grade crossings made it difficult, dangerous, and time-consuming for the trains and the city citizens to travel east and west to the city and to the western suburbs. The solution to this issue was to build the first major bridge where we are standing today and crossing that railroad interchange, and that was in 1903. I found it interesting. I'm holding pictures of that bridge in 1903 that was built because of that need. I have extra copies if some of you want to see them. It's fascinating. We can see in those pictures that our predecessors did what we are doing now by building a bridge that not only accommodated cars and foot traffic, but also trolleys that ran over the bridge and down North Temple. In these pictures, as I've studied them, we can see the same elements that we're trying to replace today that our predecessors did many years ago to recreate a North Temple Boulevard, a tree-lined boulevard. For as far as the eyes could see, these pictures, you can see this beautiful boulevard. There are homes and businesses, and what I've been told was a thriving and successful area of our city that was purposely planned for function, form, and prosperity. The same things that I believe that the visions that we have today are going to accomplish. It has been said that landscapes of any place has more influence on us than anything else, because we will see it or remember it all our lives, and it'll be last far beyond our memories. Landscapes are living things, no small part, because we are part of the living landscape. Noted the British archaeologist Timothy Darvell says this about our encounter with landscapes. People dwell in landscapes. They shape them. They give each tiny element of them special meaning and value. Each generation inscribes its own impression and removes some of the marks left by their predecessors. We're here today to do exactly that. We're here to mark the demolition of a bridge that has been part of our urban landscape for decades, and the building of a new bridge that is an impression of this generation. The old bridge emphasized movement of automobiles. The new bridge will treat walking, riding bikes, mass transit as equally important forms of transportation. It will not last longer than the greater landscape of the valley we're in, but it will help build the foundation of future generations that can build on. To bridge the city from the east to the west, and the time between generations and generations that will follow. We know the new bridge will open a section of North Temple that has been buried beneath us for years. As the mayor said, it will help finish the airport light rail line, which has been studied for more than a decade. We know it will open 400 West to economic development and provide another way for our friends, our great friends and newfound friends in Davis County, to come here to work and enjoy the capital city. We know it will help rebuild and excite the actions and the things that are going on North Temple as we economically develop it. We know that building mass transit is the right thing to do to improve our environment, not only the land environment, but our air quality. The landscape of Salt Lake City and the entire Wasatch Front, for that matter, lends itself to the mixing of new transit as a way to build communities as well as to link them. The step after light rail and the extension of the front runner is to Utah County will be to find ways to link our neighborhoods to the existing rail lines in every city served by mass transit. In the next few days, without being compelled by regulation to keep our air clean while preparing for population growth that will come, the growth will require homes, jobs, businesses, and services, and all of it can be part of a community seeking to improve the place for their own future generations. We're doing a great thing today, and as the mayor has said, and Lieutenant Governor Bell, and I'm sure others behind me, this has been really a partnership with many. I'd like to thank my colleagues on the City Council who are here that worked so hard in trying to make the numbers work so that this can be done. We have former councilman Eric Jorgensen here, who was there pulling on the rope to bring this along right with us. We appreciate him, the time that he's taken to be here today. I see business owners that are here that are going to have made sacrifices, will continue to make sacrifices as we do this improvement. And I encourage you all to remember them. Shop, go out of the way, get to their businesses, let them know that you appreciate them, that you understand that this is an inconvenience and could be a financial hardship for them. But think about what it's going to bring for the future. It's going to bring a vitality that North Temple hasn't seen since I talked about after the 1903. This is a great day, and I am excited and glad I can share it with you. So, the 70s wasn't kind with design, but I think that we learned a lot from, we can learn from our past generations and some things that didn't work so well to what we have now, a great design that will be wonderful for our city, wonderful for our west side to finally have a meaningful connection between our two parts of our city that will no longer be thought of as a division, but part of our city as it used to be. So thanks for being here.
Well, thank you very much. What a Chamber of Commerce kind of a day. Not only because of the blue sky and the fact that people still get excited about what's going on, but because of the realities of where we're at. You know, just a few years ago, we embarked on Downtown Rising, and I just asked you to look behind us and see what has taken place. And if you don't think it can happen, you're terribly mistaken. Frank Gray reminded me this morning that as downtown is without question rising, there's also something else very critical. Downtown is also falling. And today is a reality of that, is we're going to make sure that not only do we have high rises that have fallen in Salt Lake City to make way for the future, today is a perfect example of the ability to take down something to make the future much, much brighter. I just want all of you to remember what this was like just a few short years ago. How many of you would like to return that time? How many of you would like to return to a rail? Just look at what's going on right here at Gateway. How many of you would like to remember what it was like before the Boyer Company came in and rebuilt what is taking place and literally started the renewal of downtown Salt Lake City? I don't think any of us would want to do that, nor do we want to be part of shortening our opportunities for the future. I just need to tell you about how much I appreciate JT, his comments about the businesses. We represent businesses across the entire state of Utah. What a great opportunity it is for us to thank these many businesses that are now going to be affected by growth. They're going to be stifled because of the fact that we're going to tear this down. What are we going to do about that? Let's encourage our friends and our businesses to come over here and shop and to fill the restaurants and to shop at the many places that are now going to be somewhat restricted. We can do that. It's still accessible. We need to set that example. Let me just talk about the partnership in this with the city, the county, with UDOT, all major players in making sure that we're moving this forward. And I have to tell you about UTA. I'm aware of some of the conversations that are going on about UTA. May I just say to those that are on the board of directors, thank God that you have been able to keep the type of leadership in this state that have made a difference. We are not comparable to any other place in this country about transit. We are so far better than anyone is delivering right now. As representing businesses in this state, let me just say thank you. We have the ability to do things better than we have ever done. And if you think it just happens because government opens the door, you're terribly mistaken. It comes from people with vision and understanding and the ability to stand back and get us prices. Do you know if we hadn't moved ahead with what we took place 3 years ago in this state with a proposition to raise taxes where people said we'll never do that, and yet the citizens of this state voted in favor of that. 67% in Salt Lake County alone, 69% in Utah County said, you know what, let's take 1/4 cent of our sales tax and put it into improving. Out of that we have 4 new light rail lines, a new commuter rail line all the way to Provo. You tell me what other country or what other state in America is doing that. There isn't. Nowhere else is that taking place. Why? Not because of just a few people standing up and saying maybe we ought to do it, but because of leadership. And that's what makes a difference. Now I want you to know, if we hadn't done that 3 years ago, we wouldn't have this taking place for an estimated 15 years from now because of the economy. 15 years. That's what leadership bought us, was about 15 years in the future that we now have the ability to move ahead, that other states are just going to have to sit back and wait their turn. That's what leadership does. Thank you for the leadership of the state, for the leadership of the city, leadership of UDOT, leadership of UTA, and leadership of businesses who understand that the future is bright if we make sure that we move forward. And that's what we're doing today. What a glorious day. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Lane. It certainly is a lovely day, and I appreciate all of the champions we have for public transit. And accolades to all of the people and all the participants, all of the stakeholders that have been mentioned so far. I particularly want to give a shout out to the 3 project managers. UTA is Matt Sybil. Salt Lake City has done a wonderful job, John Nazer. And the construction firm, Stacy Whitbeck, John Bodnek, are just true heroes out in the trenches, working every day, making this happen for you, and it's just an incredible job. I have the benefit of being at UTA a long time, as has been mentioned, and I recall over 10 years ago that the current then planning director, Stephen Goldsmith, came to us and said, or we had a meeting about North Temple and about the airport connection, and he came to me through a visit of Europe and said, we ought to put light rail on the top of a viaduct over North Temple. And I go, what? Are you kidding me? And 10 years later, and my kudos to Steve for that foresight in making that happen, this truly will be part of a multimodal hub, accessing the entire Wasatch Front. We'll have light rail right on the top. We'll have commuter rail station right below us. You'll be able to get anywhere within this Wasatch Front with one transfer. Access to the airport is vital. Access to downtown is vital. We'll have the intermodal hub that you can see from here, as Lane's talked about redevelopment in this area. Everything is blossoming with public transportation. Our light rail projects, commuter rail projects are going quite well. We're pleased with the progress. We're about 60% done on all 5 lines that are under construction right now, and things are going very well for us. So we're very excited about that. I wanted to mention the economic part of this project. Is 90% of the construction, the demolition, and the rebuild of this structure will be by local contractors. We have Utah Pacific, who's fabricating the steel for us. We have Olson Beal, who is doing the crane work for us. We have the concrete that's coming from Parsons, right, as you can actually see them from here. We're doing a lot of recycling of this material here. 3.7 million pounds of structural steel will be recycled. 1.8 million pounds of rebar will be recycled. 900 cubic yards of the asphalt that you see here is going to be recycled, and 7,800 cubic yards of the concrete will be recycled. So we're taking this seriously, and we're trying to do a great job for you all. Demolition of this structure is supposed to take about 2 months. Rebuilding it obviously takes longer. We'll hope to have it done within 18 months. The goal will be to start construction, as you've seen from the west, meeting with the completion date of this job at about 1000 West, all in about 18 months. That'll leave us the last leg from 10th West to 6th West to get construction and open up for you as soon as we can. I look forward to the day that we start counting the number, instead of counting the number of cars that are going across this facility, we're going to start counting the number of people that are using this facility here and using our transit system. Last two comments is, number one, I'd like to encourage you all to shop North Temple, to visit North Temple, to use their services as much as you can. We recognize the impacts that construction will have. We appreciate their support, and I'm asking you all to pledge to get out there and support those facilities as we all have been trying to do. Lastly, if there's any interest, and this is not part of the script, if anybody would like a piece of this bridge, we'll let you have a piece after the ceremonies today. So thank you very much.
I noticed that John English is in the audience. Thank you, John, for being here. John's one of the visionaries spoken of. We all have our date with history and the trivia that attends it. This structure was built in 1968, so if any of you are 42 years of age or less, this bridge is older than you are. We know the stories who knows what stories it could tell. Based on the number of vehicles that travel currently, I made a rough estimate and then cut it in half, and it appears to me there's between 1 and 200 million cars, trucks, and other vehicles that have traversed this bridge over the years that it has been here. I dare not guess how many lovers have strolled across hand in hand, moving from one side to the other. For many, this bridge has stood as an icon, stitching the two sides of Salt Lake together. Now it's time to undo that stitching. I might mention, as the excavators make their way up here, you're likely to feel some rumbling on the bridge. Don't worry too much about it. It's not an earthquake aftershock. It's simply the equipment moving up. We need to have those who have been invited to participate in the destructive part of this to put on their safety equipment while the band plays and while the excavators move from the east side of the viaduct up to their positions here.